Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today we're going to talk about Dungeons & Dragons and Index Card RPG Magic Sourcebook and what the Index Card RPG Magic Sourcebook accomplishes that the Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition design team set out as a goal but never accomplished. Alright, so let's talk about it. Alright, so of course I pay hyper close attention to the build on Dungeons & Dragons, and I paid very close attention as the playtest was spinning up, right, for Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. And one of the goals of the design team for Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition was modular design. Rule sets that you could pull out and rule sets that you could put in, right? And even the idea that a game master, when a dungeon master went to play Dungeons & Dragons, that they could say, okay, I'm going to take this rule module, 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 and then I'm going to set them up in a dashboard, and here we go. Let's roll, right? And so there was this really very distinct idea of modular rule design, right? It was a noble goal, and Dungeons & Dragons in no way accomplished it, right? They did just some optional rules that you can drop in from the Dungeons & Dragons game, from the Game Master section, right? So there's some optional rules in the Game Master's in the Dungeon Master Guide, in the Dungeon Master Guide that you can drop in, right? But let's talk about Index Card RPG Magic, all right? So the Index Card RPG Magic Sourcebook, it's 100 pages long, so it's much, it's absolutely gorgeous. It's incredibly well executed. And what it is a fully functioning magic system for the Index Card RPG game. However, what really makes it special is it actually accomplishes modular design. All right, so let's talk about Index Card RPG for a minute. So Index Card RPG has for real 15-minute character design. Right, and designing an Index Card RPG character is you pick your class, you pick your bio form. That's what Dungeons & Dragons still calls race, but is about to switch in 6th edition, right? So you choose your class, you choose your bioform, and then you place you place 6 points in attributes or in effort or in armor. Attribute, effort, armor, right? And then you get some starting equipment, and that's it. There's no skills, right? And your starter equipment is really very unique, interesting equipment, and it does do some cool things, and you have to write those on your sheet. But where every other tabletop role-playing game in the world promises quick character builds, Index Card RPG genuinely delivers it. Right, it is very real. It's not a claim, it's a reality, right? And that's one of the reasons why I love Index Card RPG is so many other games claim a quick character build, and they're not. They're just simply not, right? So, but one of the things is in the Index Card RPG, which is has a fantasy setting and a science fiction setting, right? Alfheim and Warp Shell. The fantasy setting has a magic system, okay? And that magic system has 200. It has 200 spells, right? Actually, I'm sorry. It's 100 spells. There are 100 spells in Index Card RPG. There are 50 intelligence, there are 50 int magic spells, and there are 50 wisdom magic spells, right? And that's it, right? That's all there is, right? And so you drop these onto your mage within your mage within Index Card RPG, and you're good to go, right? And the magic system in Index Card RPG is incredibly simplistic. Not kidding, every single spell in Index Card RPG is written on a single line of text. One line of text that goes across a standard 8.5 by 11 page, right? It's incredible. It's so fast, so elegant, so inviting of play, and so, it's just simple and elegant, and it's gorgeous design, right? Now, the magic system in Index Card RPG is very simple. You choose a mage, you get 3 spells, from Int or Wiz, and you have a few starter items that allow you to interact with magic in one way or another, right? And the spells are very fast. You simply, cast them, right? And you have the ability to cast them. And actually, on most of them, there's no limitation. If there is a limitation, it's right in the spell. You have the spell, you can cast it, right? And one of the things they do for like the mage in Index Card RPG is the mage has a 1d8 magic missile, right? And which is a powerful range spell, right? And then everything else you're adding is just kind of modifying that, right? Now, that's very simple, very basic, right? And so you can bring somebody in and allow them to play a wizard, and then simply equip them with the spells that are in Index Card RPG, right? Very simple, very basic system, okay? Now, Index Card RPG Magic, it's its own special source book with its own magic system, right? And it's complete, and it's a complete expansion, a major expansion of the magic system of Index Card RPG. But what's truly incredible is it's modular, right? So I'll describe the Index Card RPG magic system very quickly, right? So it when you cast a spell, you cast it at a level and you cast it at a power, okay? And so essentially you cast, and when you do powers, you have to use rare items, right? You have to use these rare items that serve as a magical component, right? And so the spell components in the game are really essentially supplies for wizards, right? And it's really fun and winsome the way they deal with it. They actually, like this is a dragon's tooth. This is the heart of the calcified heart of a rhinoceros, whatever it is, And they're all called rare. They're called there's a rare ingredients, right? So, and you have to use these rare ingredients to make the spells go, right? So basically, you have to have what's necessary in order to cast the spells, right? And then certain spells that are aligned with your, and then the magic has schools as well, right? And your magician, your wizard, your sorcerer, your mage, there's actually 8 different types of there's so much in the Index Card RPG Magic book. I should probably just do my own video on that, right? But I really want to talk about the modularity of this, right? So let me do that, right? So the thing that is really incredible about Index Card RPG's magic systems, and now it's 2 magic systems, right? Is if you buy the Index Card RPG, right, and you play that for 3 months, right, you can have a lot of fun with your mage, right? And your mage is going to have 100 spells to pick from, and the game gives directions on how to build new spells, right? But it's going to be a very basic magic system, right? And the reality is, it has limitations, right? But it's there, it's fun, it's quick, it's elegant, it's simple, right? Then, 3 months after you're playing Index Card RPG, you decide, okay, I really like Index Card RPG, and you buy Index Card RPG Magic, right? Here's where the modularity comes in, right? The game actually gives a game mechanic, a narrative way for your Index Card RPG wizard who's been using these basic rules and basic spell list to graduate into a new type of wizard, right? That has a base nature and a class, right? And then they are going to begin using their own hit points to cast spells, right? And these spells have level and power, right? So you can work to get more rare ingredients and make every single spell in the book more powerful. And you can cast, and then also different spells come in different levels. So all spells can be cast at power 1 to 4, and then every spell in the book comes in a level from 1 to 4, okay? So, but a spell has a specific level, right? So there's level 1 spells, level 2 spells, level 3 spells, and level 4 spells, right? And there's a system for mastering the literally 8 different types of magic in Index Card RPG Magic, right? And the thing that's really incredible is this is modular. You can graduate your player character from playing this super simple mage with a simple spell list to a very advanced mage with a with a wonderfully expanded spell list and with more ability to adjust the spells, right? Now this is huge. This is really a big deal, right? And the reason why is if a dungeon master, if a game master drops Index Card RPG onto the table, right? And you start, and you have a less skilled player who really wants to play a wizard, you can keep them forever on the simple system, right? But if you get a player who really you can tell their playstyle will allow more complexity, right? You can switch to this higher, more robust form. And the game literally gives you ways to work the narrative, work the story, so that it explains why magic works differently now for this character. And essentially it's a graduation. They are, moving up from being just kind of a hedge mage, right, all the way up to becoming an arc mage, right, And it's really, really fantastic. I was blown away by this. And when you see it done with Index Card RPG Mage, right, and you're like, wow, that's incredible, right? Because the reality is now you can choose. You can match the magic system to the level of complexity that is appropriate for the skill of the player. Not the player character, but the player, right? And that is really, and there might even be other uses. Like, for instance, let's say you have a power gamer, right? And of course they want to play a wizard because that's what every power gamer wants to do, right? You may actually, if the player is a problematic player, right? And some groups have them, right? And the easy, John Picard, there was a great TNG episode where Riker was like, "We got a really bad employee. Let's transfer him." And Picard was like, "No, you don't transfer, a Starfleet officer. You fix them. You do the hard work and you fix them, right?" So if you have a problematic player who really, who is really just kind of lorded over the other players, if they have more power, you keep them on the simple set. You don't bring them to Index Card RPG Magic, right? So it's really incredible that this can be progressive. You can start with a simple system and progress into a more complex magic system. And also, once you've seen Index Card RPG Magic, right, you also realize you could do the same thing with every single class. You could do the same thing where you would have a more robust ability. You could have a book which allows you to graduate your fighter into a more advanced fighter, right? And now that book doesn't exist right now, and it may never exist, right? This may only be appropriate for Magic. But when I see it, I definitely see, wouldn't it be great if you could choose the level of complexity by player, right? And that is, and this is exactly the modularity that was talked about in Dungeons & Dragons Design 5th edition that was hoped for, right? But Dungeons & Dragons is, I love Dungeons & Dragons so much, right? But it is captive to its audience, right? It carries the banner for the entire tabletop role-playing game market, right? And its success impacts literally dozens of different companies. It impacts a $75 million a year industry, right? And so they don't have a lot of flexibility. They have to make it successful. They have to keep it safe. They have to execute well, right? They just don't have a lot of flexibility, right? But Index Card RPG gets to sit back, watch what Dungeons & Dragons does, and then iterate on that, right? And fix everything to make it more simple and more elegant, right? Whereas, Dungeons and Dragons has so many old crunchy grognards, you can't do that. You're not allowed, right? Its player base will not allow it, right? Whereas the player base of Index Card RPG, I believe Index Card RPG in many ways, you're looking at a Dungeons and Dragons enhanced, right? Because it has the freedom to be enhanced, right? It's not that the Wizards of the Coast people aren't capable of it. It's just that, Dungeons and Dragons is like Harley Davidson. It's an American icon, right? There are a lot of things that go into consideration of each edition of the Dungeons and Dragons game. And they just don't have the flexibility or the freedom that Index Card RPG does, right? And so Index Card RPG accomplished this thing that the 5th edition design team could not accomplish, right? Because they had too much going on, right? And it was just they just simply didn't have the time, they didn't have the budget, they didn't have the innovative freedom to do this because they had so many people they had to serve with the edition. And especially also with the problem that 5th edition was also specifically tasked with fixing the problem of 4th edition, right? But Index Card RPG has done modular design, right? Exactly as designed as a goal in Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition. Every single game master, if you are a game master or if you're a dungeon master, you have to buy Index Card RPG. It really is beyond Dungeons and Dragons, which has its own special place in tabletop role-playing game history. It is without a doubt the best tabletop role-playing game you can buy, and it is executing at a level that is simply unmatched anywhere in the industry. And basically, if you're a dungeon master or a game master, you have to see the beauty of this modular system. It is really, really fantastic. And not only will you be thrilled with the modularity, right? The book itself is just amazing. The art is amazing. The rule design is amazing. The layout is amazing. It's just so incredibly well executed. I highly recommend checking out Index Card RPG's Magic book, which succeeded in building modularity that was not achieved with the Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition design goals. Okay, so definitely check it out. And the last thing I want to say is I am raving about Index Card RPG and Index Card RPG Magic, but I'm also just want to acknowledge Index Card RPG and Index Card Magic. It stands on the shoulders of Dungeons and Dragons. It is as great a game as it is because it can look at what Dungeons and Dragons accomplishes and then enhance it, right? And it just make it cleaner, sparer, more elegant, just more innovative, right? It's really, really incredible. Definitely check out Index Card RPG Magic. I really want you to see this modular build. It's really stunning. All that's my opinion. I'd love to hear your opinion, especially if you gave ideas for modularity in Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. I'd love to hear what you put forward that was ignored. I'd also love to hear your thoughts on Index Card RPG Magic, the book. Please let me know in the comments below. Please consider liking and subscribing, and have a wonderful millennium.